Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget memory lane. So today we are going to make a pressing board, and that is a board that you can use when you are working in your journal, and whether it's wanting to glue things down or wanting to write on your writing pages. This will give you a board to stick underneath if there's something very bulky between what you want to write on, and even if there's not anything bulky, your book is kind of soft. So if you wanted to write something here, you need something solid to put behind it. So when you write or when you stamp or stencil or anything else, it has a nice solid background. So what we're going to do is we are going to collage a piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to use some random bits and pieces. We've got like the candy store and the toy store, the fashion store, the art store, the hardware store, which I do not have anything for the hardware store, but that's okay. You don't have to have everything. We've got the school and the depot, the farm, the woods, the lake, and the circus in our map. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to take some elements of those things and make a pretty pressing board. Now there's two things about a pressing board that you want to remember. These are some of the things I've grabbed out. This is what we are going to use for our pressing board. It is the cover of a composition book. The two things you need to remember is that you want one side that is just completely flat, smooth. That's the side that you're going to put under the page that you want to write on, so that you have a nice flat surface to write on. The other side you can make really pretty, so that when you stick it in your book, it's something pretty to look at. And even maybe put some things that stick out over the edges, remembering how are you going to stick it in your book. I always stick mine in the middle, and so this will go in the middle of our book. So I need to decide, do I want the black side up when I put it in my book? Or do I want the black side down when I put it in my book? Because that will make a difference on when you're collaging. If I want my collage side, because this is the side we're going to leave smooth, and I'm going to leave it just like this because I thought that was nice, that the person that gets this journal can wind up putting their name on there or their address or whatever they'd like to put there, because you can write on it and it's not going to affect using it as a board. So, but if I'm going to put it in like this and I want something to stick out the top and the side, then I know whatever I'm going to stick out is going to be in this area. If I want to put that part down, then I know that whatever's going to stick out is going to go here. So, obviously the top is the top, but it will make a difference as to what side, if you want something to stick off of the edge, so that when you close your book, there's something, kind of fancy sticking out there. So, I think that the collage side will go up. So this is going to be the side that I will, if I want to put something sticking out, it will be over here. And then also I want my board to be obviously the size of my pages. So I need it to fit. It will fit in there no matter what. So do I want to cut it any shorter than it is? No, maybe I'll leave it just like it is, because that way, if we get a little bit thick at the top, when we go to stick it under, let's go over here because most of those pages are pretty solid. If we go to stick it under a page, we can stick it like that under the page. Trying to get something that doesn't have a bunch of stuff in the way. So we can stick it under the page where it lines up at the bottom, and anything that we have sticking out will be here and here, and that won't be in our flatness, because that was something that I chose everything very flat because I was thinking that it was going to be down here. So I didn't want anything very bulky, even though this will be, when we write on it, we'll put it in like this. I didn't want anything bulky on this side that was still going to possibly make a bit of a difference. So maybe we'll leave it the full length. I think we will. Okay, so I hadn't really thought of that. So it's going to be that size, but I also know that I don't want it to totally, what am I doing here? Oh, I know this book doesn't belong in there. Alrighty. So I want it to come to the edge of my book, but I really don't want the cardboard to stick out. I want other pretty things to stick out. So I'm going to cut a little bit off the edge of this. So I'm just going to cut a little over here. And I don't know if this is going to be big enough. That is not big enough. Grab my bigger trimmer and trim it. So you just want to make sure it's going to fit where you want it to fit. And I think I don't want to take off too much because I do really want it to come pretty much to the edge. So if I put that in there like that, yeah, that's good. Okay. So we'll set that aside. And what did I do? I just pulled out a bunch of things that I can use to do this with. Now, ooh, I don't know where my corner rounder is. Well, I've got the other part of the book here. I just want to round these corners. I don't know why. They don't really need to be. They're going to pretty much be kind of covered up. But I want to do it anyway. So I'm just going to line that up, top and side, and just follow that corner there, like that. I don't like them to have points on them if I'm rounding them. Okay, good enough. I think I'm just going to round this one. There. Okay. So that's going to be our base. We've got a nice smooth side, and we want to try and make sure we keep this smooth as we're gluing and that type of thing. When you get some glue on it, you can wipe it off. It's not that big of a deal, but you just kind of want to keep it as clean as you can. So then what I did was I just pulled out a bunch of stuff. I know that I want something to stick out the top and the side of the book. So I pulled out, but again, like I said, we want things that are flat. So I went through my laces, and there were a lot of them that were really wide, that obviously if you put them up here, they would just fall around. So if you put them down this way, I didn't want that much bulk on my pressing board. I want my pressing board, even though we've made it a little bigger so that we can kind of put that out of the way, I still don't want a whole bunch of bulk. So this does have a little bit of gathering strip here at the bottom. With gathered lace, it always has a little piece that is sewn at the bottom to basically make it gather. And I wanted it to, to continue to gather, so I don't want to take that off. You can remove that bit. And I could have cut down my wider laces, but I liked the way that this looked if I did that right at the top. And this one was very nice and flat. Some of them were very, very bulky and heavy here. So, and I want to put that on there kind of first because I want to cover that edge up with my papers or whatever I'm putting on here a little bit. So I am just going to, let me see, I wonder, do I want to put it around the corner? Because we could do that. Not sure if I like it around the corner or not. I will decide in a minute. And I also did get some blue that I thought that we could put there too. Since our book has a whole lot of blue in it, I thought that that would be nice. And so let's show you. I started showing you what I was pulling out. So I've got some lace to put on there. I have some leaves for the woods. Now with the leaves, again, talking about bulk, the leaves have this wire stuck behind them to make them stand up in your flower bouquets. So all I did was I just peeled that off. because I definitely do not want that wire, even though the leaf will then be floppy. I don't want that wire on my pressing board. That would be something that would be very solid and heavy behind what I was trying to press with. So where I come from, they have a thing called a sassafras tree, which that looks like the leaf of a sassafras tree. They have 3 shapes. They've got that one that looks like a mitten, and one that just looks like a leaf like that. So what I'm going to do is, I want that to be the look of my leaf, so I'm going to take these 2 bottom ones off. But I'm going to keep them because I can use those with these little flowers that I bought. And again, we're talking about bulk. So talking about bulk, take those off of there. Take the hard, bulky plastic stuff off. And then you'll have your multiple layers. And that's really bulky and heavy too. So then you'll have layers that you can play with. So we've got those. And then we've got a few of these. Again, these are little blue flowers. And so I love these flowers. We used these for my oldest daughter's wedding. And so I have a lot of them. Okay, so we've got some of those as a bulky type, not necessarily, it's not bulky, it's not supposed to be bulky. But something that can stick out over the edge of the page. So we have those things, and then we have papers to cover with. So a piece of the matte paper that we had used. Here is a train for the train depot, an elephant for the circus. And these are things that I have in a pile. You know, as I've been making the book, things that I have set, aside because they were leftovers. So, that we've got the toy store. This is the original cover to our book, which is the globe map. And there's a butterfly that I just found here, and he would be nice because, you have the woods and the water and everything else, butterflies like that. Candy, more candy, games, a sewing machine, a little bit of lace, and then I grabbed some papers out that I thought, see those, there's a sassafras leaf right there. That's some eco dried paper that I made, and yeah, that's what a sassafras leaf looks like. So I just had these colored papers sitting here, and we've got the animals for the farm. So we're going to just collage this onto this board as best as we can. Collage is not really my forte, I'm not the best at it, but the thing is, the more you do something, the better you'll get. So even if you think, well, I don't like to collage, then, just don't worry about it. Just do whatever it is that you think looks good. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I have this stamp that says, life is a ticket to the greatest show on earth. And I thought that was really pretty. It might look kind of cute hanging out over the edge. So I'm just going to use some black permanent ink and stamp this on here, because I don't want to stamp it on white paper. If I stamp it on white paper, I would feel like I would need to color it, and I don't want to color it. I don't really care for coloring stamps, and I'm not even going to, well, I've got it on there now, so I don't like to color stamps, so I don't normally color stamps. I usually put them on colored paper, and then I don't have to color them as far as I'm concerned. That's the way I look at it. And that's why I'm really careful when I buy stamps, because sometimes when you buy a stamp, it will show you, like on the back of the wooden stamp, this would be colored. Like, let's say this was a little bunny or something in the woods, and the bunny would be colored and the woods would be colored. And, the one thing that I didn't used to think about when I first started, buying my stamps was that I didn't think about the fact that, yes, that looks really, really cute. But then when I get home and I stamp it out, it's just the outline, and then I have to color it. And if you like to color, which I don't have anything against coloring, it's more the time factor. Normally, if I stamp something, I want to stamp and continue. And so I'm really careful now when I buy a stamp that is already colored on the front of the stamp, to show you what it's going to look like, to remind myself that that is not what it's going to look like. It is going to look like a black outline of whatever I'm looking at there. So, and again, I would say that 90%, and I'm not exaggerating because it's even probably higher than that, 90% of the stamps that I have, including my clear stamps, were bought at garage sales, secondhand stores. You know, I really don't buy much at the craft store. I'm not a, you know, I mean, there are things that I like, and I do have a craft outlet also, so that has, those are new stamps, and a little closer to like what people are using like at this time, but I'm just not a big one for, oh, everybody is doing this or that, I have to have that stamp. So, which, you know, that sometimes gets us in trouble because they're more expensive and it really costs us a lot of money. So I think I want those to stick out over the edge too. Now, I the other thing that I want to do is where I'm going to have this in here and I want it to stick out over the edge. I only want it to stick out from where we're going to tie it up and then across the top. I don't want it sticking out down here. So what I want to do is I want to kind of put a mark here as to this is as far as I want to go in decorating the edge. And let's see here. I did want this side to be up. So that is correct. This is the side that we are going to decorate. So when we put it in there, this side will be up. So I think the first thing that I do want to do is to put down the lace because I know I want it under my paper. The rest of it, probably not so much. I probably want that on top of my paper. So now the question is, do I want it to be connected? Just kind of give that a little pleat right there so that it will turn the corner. Yeah, I think we will make it connected. And today I'm going to be using water glue, tacky glue, and permanent stick glue. I think what we'll do first is put it up this edge and around the corner. Well, this isn't going to dry, so I can just go ahead and put the glue where I want it. And really, I've kind of overdone the glue there. There's my top. Okay, so, and you know, as far as right and wrong side goes, I have a hard time figuring that out, and this is going to be seen from both ways, so technically it really does not matter. So I think I'm just going to start here. This is going to be straight on my book, so I want to cut the lace. I'm holding this like in a straight line so that I can see what straight up and down will be, because normally with the gathered lace, it kind of sticks out to, kind of goes around like that. Now, I could let it do that, so we're just going to do it just like this. Okay, so I'm going to put this here, and I'm just going to put that, and also that, the edge where they've sewn it together to make it a gathered lace makes a nice place to glue to because it's quite solid. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a little nick in that and put a little bit of glue right here. And then just kind of bring this around. It still needs to be gathered, so just kind of tuck that under. That's helping this make the corner by putting a little pleat right there. Otherwise, that would just want to curl in really hard. So we're going to hold that down for a second while we line this up. Just give it a good press. because it's tacky glue, it grabs pretty quickly. Not as quick as like fabric glue. But we're going to put stuff on top of it to help, you know, that way we'll be pushing it down every time we stick something on top of it. So it'll be all right. I just want that pleat to stay where it's at. The rest of it will be fine. Okay, so there we go. And now I'm going to make a straight cut right there. Alrighty, so when we see it from the other side now, we're going to have that lace. And that looks really kind of cute. Just gives you a little extra something on your book when you have something sticking out the top and the sides. So now it comes time to, let me see, let's see about the blue. Do we want to put that under the papers also? Or I think because it has a nice straight line, it's not gathered or anything. I think if we were to put our papers on there and then put that on top of the papers, maybe, do I want it on the top or do I want it underneath? Maybe we'll just put it underneath. I'm just going to put some glue right on that pleat, or that sewn edge. It wants to come out in blobs instead of a nice line. And then we'll put that on there too. I know for sure that I want the flowers on top. I'm going to make that a little bit long. So I can trim it down to the right size when I'm done. I could trim it right from the start, but then if I pull it a little bit and it's short, it will bother me. And you can always use that little bit. You can stick it in some kind of a cluster or something. Okay, so let's put some kind of a pleat. It's not wanting to stick down the best. Okay, for now I'm going to leave that just like that. And maybe get a little collage on top of it to hold it down. Then I'll turn the corner and work over there. Because this is not staying down real well, and yet there's a lot of glue right there. Just kind of needs something to hold it down. So I think to start with, I'm going to put just a few background papers, just some colored papers. And I can keep that straight edge because would cut it off anyways. So I'm going to put that one on there like that. And I'm going to do that one with a permanent stick glue. Just make sure you get to all the way out to the edges. And get the whole thing covered. Make sure that this is how I want it. There we go. That will help hold that lace down now. Because I just have to give the tacky glue a bit of time to dry. It did really well. Paper 2, and this is more of a cotton, and this is more of a acrylic type. Can't think of what you call it. Like polyester or something like that. Anyways, it's, you know, more of a plastic type. It's regular lace, but I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so what about putting on some of our puzzle pieces? And I tear the edges just because I like the looks of a torn edge, not because you really need to. And this paper that I use, this is what, I believe this was what I called shoe paper, which was paper that came out of a pair of shoes where they wadded up for the toe, and it rips really straight on the sides. It just, and then not the other way. And a lot of papers do that. So you rip it this way and it's very straight and you can't even hardly tell that it's ripped. So I think that I will put that one right on there. And again, I think that I will use the permanent stick glue, except this time I'm going to put it on here mostly because this is really delicate paper. And then I'm going to do the edges of this paper just to make sure that the edges don't lift up. But there's plenty of glue on there. I think I want it to go this way. Whoopsie, I ripped it right there. Just pull that back down. And there we go. Give it a press. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate you all stopping by and watching and all the wonderful comments that you leave. It's always nice to know that people enjoy the videos and that I'm, you know, kind of giving you what you want. And I have a list of things I still need to do. And some of them I'm just working on because I haven't quite got them figured out yet. Some of them I don't quite have the supplies for yet. So if you have requested something and it's been quite a while, go ahead and ask again, because I make my lists and then I lose them quite often. So, so don't feel bad if you've already asked and then you think, oh, I haven't seen it yet. I really want to, you know, I really want to know about this. Just go ahead and send me another. When you leave a comment, just leave in your comment what it is that you're looking for. Because I do my best to do those videos according to, you know, like what's been requested. Because, you know, sometimes I have a hard time thinking, what is it that I really want to, you know, what do I want to do this week? And so I love to have the request, because then I know at least it's something somebody wants to see. Alrighty, and this one says, candy is delicious food. So, and I think I want something under that, because these are magazines from the Reminisce magazine, and they're very thin. So, these were just some colored papers that I had pulled out, and they're just sitting here. So I just grabbed them because they were here. That is not going to fit where I want it. But it'll fit there. And then they're not all the same size. That's a good thing too. Another thing that, oops, it's another thing that I tend to do sometimes when I collage is like, I kind of line them all up. Really with collage, it's better not to do that. You really should kind of make them different sizes, different lengths. It gives you more visual pleasure to look at. It's more interesting. I don't know about more pleasure, but it is more interesting to look at when it's not all the same size. Okay, now I have to deal with this corner. And I think I'm going to just cut it off at an angle, cut from the corner out. Actually, I think I need to bring it down a little bit. And once that tacky glue dries, there won't be a problem with that. It's just the fact of waiting for it to dry. So there we go. And then I will take this piece. Oops, it goes this way. I'm going to cut it on an angle like this so that it kind of meets up, but I will overlap it just a little bit to make sure that I don't have a gap. I'm going to put a touch of glue on there. I'm not liking how high that is sticking up there. And you just play with it. Like I said, you know, with collage, there are things that help it look better, like not lining everything up, like, you know, kind of spreading out your focal points a little bit so that the eye kind of goes around the page. But you do whatever seems right to you. Don't worry about it if there's rules and I didn't follow the rules. You don't want to follow the rules, you don't have to. It's a nice thing about just creative play. There are no rules. I mean, have you ever watched little kids do things and they don't have any rules? They put what they want where they want it, and sometimes they come up with the most amazing things. All right, so didn't I have another one of these? Yes, I did, because I had the one I stamped on. Here it is. I don't really want to rip that one up. And because this is dyed paper, it doesn't matter which way you rip it, it's not going to have a white edge because it's dyed all the way through. When you have the white edge, it's when you've like stamped or colored on something, or if it's purchased paper, it may have a white core. Then you have to think about which way you rip it if you don't want to see a white edge. But if you've dyed it, you don't have to worry about it. That needs to stick out there that far. But I like the angle on it. And I probably should have collaged this before I came on here, because we're already getting to quite a bit of time. And I don't have the ability to attach my videos together anymore. And I suppose, I don't like both of these kind of have that same angle to them. I don't like that, so I'm going to tear this one down a little bit so it doesn't. There we go. Better. Alrighty, so we've got our sewing machine and we've got our candy, and let's see. Let's now put down, where is our map paper? Here. Put a nice big piece of this on here. We'll even let it says journal right there. That is a nice looking piece of paper there too. I'm going to make this go all the way top to bottom, because we can. Being that this is rice paper is hard to rip because of the fibers in it. So sometimes you can't do that. All right, let's see if I can rip it here without ripping where it says journal. I like the fuzzies on the other end. And that's the thing, you just find as you go. You know, I shouldn't have cut that off right there. I should have cut it a little higher, or I should have tried to rip it beforehand. But if you don't, you just go back in and try and make it what you want it to be. Okay, so we're going to put this here. I'm not going to worry about ripping this edge because it'll wind up being covered by something else. And the other edge is going to be lined up. So I'm going to use my glue stick to glue it down. And make sure that you get glue everywhere. Because I don't know exactly where those edges are, I'm going to glue this also. And rice paper is pretty sturdy. That is the nice thing about rice paper, is that it's not like, it's like tissue paper kind of, but it has a lot more strength. And I really want to put another color underneath of it instead of over top of it. That will work because I love that ripped edge. And so I don't want to cover that up. There we go. And see how fast that was because we did a nice big piece. Alrighty, we need a little something here. And I was thinking the other matte paper, like this one. Oh, see, this is what I was talking about when you rip it and the white. It's the piece that you pull towards yourself that does not have the white. Sorry about being so quiet. That's why I always try and do things that don't take so much time like this of the same thing, where you don't need any explanation, because I'm not good at chatting. So that looks good. And then we just need a little, let's see, if I put this here, then we need a little something at the bottom. All right, let's put this on the bottom portion here. And I'm going to put a little pink piece, whoops. Put that there. I think that probably should be enough to get this on there. And then it's a matter of just collaging up your different pictures. So I think we will do the edge next in case I don't have time to finish the whole thing. You know, putting on the pictures is, you know, easy enough. You glue it on there. So, but we'll do the edges next. And that's the other thing. This is, I had covered that piece up. I didn't necessarily have to cover up that little spot because I could have just put a picture over top of it. There. The reason that I used the stick glue is because now it's already dry and I don't have to worry about it really. I am going to come in and trim off this excess because as I'm gluing on anything else, I want to know just where the edge of my board is. Okay. Get that off of there. That's the one thing about the stick glue. It's very sticky. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut that blue lace. And you could wrap things around, but you don't want to do that because remember, we want this to be nice and flat. So there we go. Now we've got kind of a base to start working off of. I don't like the way that this is. I cut it where I cut the blue, so there's a little straight line there, which looks really bad. I'm just going to rip a corner of that off. If I can. I just can't get a hold of it. There. Much better. Alrighty. So, now, the thing that I like to do, I'm going to cut this off also, so we can see kind of how this looks in our book. Let me see. I want to, I've got a really sticky area there. Alrighty, so I want to kind of see what this looks like in our book. So this is what, now all of these are not going to be sticking out. That's just marking my pages, so kind of look at it from this side. Okay, so see, that's what it's going to look like on the back side. And that really looks kind of neat. And then on the side, it's just, you know, hard to see what the front looks like. But I like the way that looks. It looks like it's going to stick out nicely. And so now the thing is, I want to start putting on my edge pieces. And I pulled all these out, but they may not all go on here. I may not like the way they look. It doesn't have to have something from everything in the book. I just pulled out something kind of from everything in the book in case I wanted to put it on there. And so I knew that I had enough stuff pulled out. But this is what I want to look at now. I'm going to look at our tickets and our flowers and our leaves. Now this one here, I know that I want it to be here because I want that to stick out the corner of our book. So that one's going to go right there. Oh, I'm so sticky. All right, and then I am going to take this down just a little bit. I didn't want it being quite sticking out that far down. All right, so I want that there. Definitely using wet glue. And I am also going to glue it to the lace. So that's like there. Because that will help it to stand up. There. So we've got that. And then we could layer up some flowers on there. And with our, we could put this here. Excuse me. With these things, we want to remember that we want to keep them out towards the edges so that they're not where we're going to be writing, and so that they stick out of our book. That's the biggest thing. Excuse me, I have a terrible tickle. Okay, so those are going to stick out like that. Maybe we'll stick this one right here. Make a nice little grouping. Like that. And then we can put another one over here. Maybe with a little bit of lace behind it. And a leaf. Well, I guess we should put the leaf behind the flower and on top of the lace. I'm going to bring the lace down a little bit so we can see it better inside the book, because we've already got lace outside the book. Put that one like that. I'm going to flip that one over because it wants to bend the wrong way. That like that, and remembering that we're doing this to stick out of the book. So we have to remember that we're not trying to stay on the page, we're trying to make something pretty on the outside of the book. I like that. Now in the middle of the flowers, I can go put a little flat back pearl or something. But I like the way that these look so far, so I'm going to go ahead and glue them down so I don't lose my pattern, because I do that a lot. I get busy trying to do more than, you know, like try and do the whole thing. Now, to some people, that's the easiest way for them to do it. And sometimes I do that, especially if I'm planning the whole thing out ahead of time for the videos, just so that it takes less time. But I do like to try and do it this way so that I don't lose my train of thought. All right, and then I'm going to put some, I want it to be puffy out on the edges, but the part that's towards the book, I'm going to make it a little more solid, partly because it's kind of folded up. So we're going to put that one right up there. Maybe I put it just a little bit too high. There we go. And we still have another one here. Oh, we want to put these ones down, and I do like the way that those look. Remember to stick them up over the edge. And I have one of these flowers kind of going one way and one going the other. Both sides are pretty, but we're going to see both sides, so it's okay. That one's kind of upside down. This one is right side up. And again, permanent glue for this, wet glue, so that it really does stay where it is supposed to stay. Because this one wants to curl the wrong way, I'm going to glue it upside down because both sides look pretty. And there we go. And like I said, a little flat back diamond or something in the middle is what the flowers need. So we will do that. And again, that glue has to have time to kind of catch. So it'll be something where you're going to want to go back and touch, you know, touch them, push them down. And maybe take a couple of the tickets and stick them like that. Now, maybe I should back them on some cardstock so that they're a little more solid. And I do think that I like them like that. But I think they do need to be backed on cardstock, because they are going, you know, they're going to stick out of the book. So they are going to get all messed up if we don't put them on cardstock. So we're going to put those on cardstock. And we could say, well, we've got an extra flower, we could put it there. But see, that's inside the book. Number one, remember, we want the inside to be pretty flat, and we want all of this stuff to stick out of the booklet. So the one thing that we can do with this one, just want to kind of try and press these down a little bit, because I'm going to flip this over. So we're going to put those there with cardstock. But what we can do is we can take this one and put it here with a little diamond in the middle. It's really not on our composition book, which is we don't want it there, but we can put it right up there and put a little flower or something in the middle. Wonder what this would look like, these two layered. Like that. Or like that. I don't like that, but maybe I do like that one better. All right, this one needs something in the middle. A little tiny flower with a diamond. And then that's going to be on that side. So when you're looking at it from this side, you see that little bit. It doesn't need a bunch of things on this side. So we're going to put that there. Oopsie. Got to let that wet glue dry. Okay, so I think that what I'm going to do is let all of this glue dry. And then I will be back next week. I need to stick something, put some parchment on this and put something heavy on top, because I want those to be nice and solid. Where did our little tickets go? Okay, oh, there they are. So I'm going to back this with cardstock, and I'm going to put those on there. I'm going to put some little diamonds on those after they dry. And I'm going to figure out what collage I want on here, because very possibly it's not going to be very much. I really love the way that this looks just like this. I think that maybe this one needs to be right down here, or does it need to be up in the area? Oh, maybe it needs to be right there. I like that there, so I'm going to put it there. Oh, I'm stuck. So I'm going to finish this up. And so, and you know, those of you that say, oh, you know, I started a journal, but like it takes me too long. I'm no good at it, because, you know, like it takes me forever. When I come on here with a lot of these videos, I've already done a lot of this planning. And if you think about it, we've been here 53 minutes. I have already pulled all of this stuff out before I even got here. And this is as far as we've got. So it's okay that it takes a long time. We're supposed to just have fun doing it. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You know, don't try and make a journal like for somebody for their birthday that's next week. That will just frustrate you. Just make a journal because you want to, or make it for somebody's birthday, but start a few months ahead of time. And so that you can just work on it as you go, and don't worry about how long it takes, because it does really take a while. You know, this is going to probably be, I probably hit at least a half an hour just in pulling out things. We've been on here for an hour. That's an hour and a half. And there's at least a half an hour's left. So this is a couple hours just to do this one piece. So, you know, just remember that. And remember that it's okay. And when you watch somebody just put something together, bing, bang, boom, it really doesn't go together that quickly. All the plans have been made ahead of time. Everything is kind of ready to go. And, you know, it takes them a while too, even though they've been doing it a long time. So don't get frustrated. Play with it. If you get frustrated and think, I just can't, set it aside and do something else. So, but thank you very much for stopping by. I will come back next week. We will finish this. And again, I will have already went through, kind of figured out what I want to do so that it won't take so long. And then, I think that we will work on one of the pages in our book. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.